Now, and the Little Church of the West, one of the oldest buildings in town.
Well, today it is celebrating 70 years of marital bliss. Joining us live this morning from inside that chapel is Michelle Velez. And Michelle, boy, does it have a unique history.
Kim, it really does. You know, Las Vegas is known as the wedding capital of the world, and what we're really known for is our wedding chapels. Well, we are standing in the grandmother of wedding chapels because this was the very first one to ever be built on the Las Vegas Strip. And what makes this chapel so unique, aside from that historic past, is that it has been moved 3 times. It has been moved around, not just a new building. This is the original building that we're standing in, and they literally picked it up and they have moved it down the strip as the development started to come up on the Las Vegas Strip. So it is so neat to be in here this morning. It's not very big, but it is still in business. They're still doing weddings here. And I want to bring in Dan Valance. He is the marketing director of the Little Chapel of the West. So Dan, let's talk about the history here. Where did it start and how did it end up here?
The chapel was built, it's the first chapel built as a wedding chapel in Las Vegas, so really started the wedding business in Vegas. Originally at the last Frontier Hotel, which is where Fashion Show Mall is now. It was moved some years later to just outside the Hacienda, which is where Mandalay Bay is right now. And about 15 years ago, we were moved from the Hacienda, once Mandalay Bay started construction, to where we are now, right between the Las Vegas, famous Las Vegas sign and Mandalay Bay.
Okay, so can we talk about the very first wedding ever held here? Who got married?
Sure. I'm going to have to refer to my notes for the name, but 70 years ago today was George Calvert, and he married his wife Helen Gates, both from Hollywood, California.
And he was in the Army.
He was a tank commander in the Army, yes.
Okay, so he was the very first wedding. And since then, Kim and Dana, there have been several celebrities who have gotten married here, from Elvis Presley in a movie to Richard Gere, Cindy Crawford. They got married here. And Dan was just telling me the coolest story about the bell tower. There's a legend that goes behind it from where it originated from. So coming up in our 6:30 half an hour, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to show you some more of the original structure here. Everything in here pretty much is what originally was built 70 years ago. Really neat.
Well, and this is appropriate that you are a new bride yourself inside that chapel. So, Michelle, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again next hour.
Michelle Velez did not get married there, however.
No, but she did get married in a chapel here in town.
And we're celebrating 70 years of marital bliss this morning. We are at the Little Chapel of the West, the very first wedding chapel to ever ring its bells here on the Las Vegas Strip. It's been ringing that bell for 70 years. And we have the cool story behind this historic land site here in Las Vegas.
641, and the Little Church of the West is one of the oldest buildings in town.
Well, today it is celebrating 70 years of marital bliss, and this morning we find our new bride, Michelle Velez, live from the chapel. And that was so cool, Michelle, when you had the bells ringing during your first live report just a little while ago in this half hour.
Well, you know what's so significant about that, Kim, is that that bell and the building has been listed as one of the historical land sites in America. Right, so the bell has actually been featured in movies too, so it is really neat. Let's go ahead and have Jorge pan up real quick. All right, let's go to the video first, and let me give you some history behind this historic landmark here in Las Vegas. It is the very first church or chapel that has ever come up. We're famous, we're known for our chapels. This was the first one. What we're celebrating today, it's been 70 years since the very first wedding was ever held here at the Little Church of the West, and it has been moved three times? It's been moved 3 times. It has 4 different homes here on the Las Vegas Strip, and that's because as the Strip was developed, they had to keep moving the church. And there's been some really famous names that's come through here. Judy Garland got married here, Zsa Zsa Gabor got married here, Cindy Crawford, Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton got married here. But what's so cool about this is how this whole building is still the original structure. And for more on that, I want to bring in Dan. He is the executive marketing director here. Dan, talk about the bell. You were telling me there's a legend behind it.
The legend with the bell is it originally came from a church in St. Thomas, Nevada, which is the town that's currently under Lake Mead. So that's what legend has it. That's where the bell came from.
And you said it's been featured in a very famous movie.
Yeah, it was featured in the movie Viva Las Vegas with Anne Margaret and Elvis Presley, and you can clearly hear the bell. It's a very unique sound at the end of the movie.
Okay, would you do me a favor? Would you go in there and ring it for us one more time as we wrap up this live shot? So Kim and Dana, one of the historic landmarks here in Las Vegas, the very first church on the Las Vegas Strip. And as we send it back to you, you can hear that famous bell that has been featured in some very famous movies. Just another piece of Las Vegas history that we love to share.
What a treat, Michelle. Thank you for that. And since our daughter is dying to be a flower girl, we're going to have to renew our vows there because it's like on her bucket list.
Or we just bring her down there and see who's getting married and say we have your flower girl free of charge for you.
That hasn't really worked. Tom Hawley, as you are well aware, young Kate Wagner has been shut down in the flower girl arena by a couple of people we know very well.
And that is not for lack of trying. She has actively lobbied for a role as flower girl. So there's more weddings to unwrap.
Nevada's first choice for news. This is 8 News Now at 5.
Darren, it's the oldest building on the south end of the Las Vegas Strip. Movies were filmed there, stars got married there, and today the Little Church of the West turned 70. Ted Florendo is live at Russell and Las Vegas Boulevard at the Church of the West with their story. Ted.
Paula, good afternoon. This building here is the original building built back in 1942. Stars like Angelina Jolie, Billy Bob Thornton, and even Judy Garland were married here. The first wedding took place in 1943 between George Calvert and Helen Gates. They were from Hollywood, California. Since then, there have been so many weddings, managers here say they lost count. Although the building is the same, the spot is not the original spot where the church opened 70 years ago. It has made 3 moves over the years. The latest was from the Hacienda to here in 1996. Little Church of the West Marketing Director Daniel Valance says there's a reason the church is still popular today.
The history here is something you can't buy. You know, the names associated with people that have been married here, you know, just a real rich culture, and the fact that Little Church of the West is really, you know, engraved into Las Vegas history.
Now inside the church, they still have the old lighting, the pictures, the altar, and wood siding. Now managers tell me they do not plan to move the church anymore. This will be its final resting spot. They are already constructing the little Garden of the West that's in back of the building. It'll be an outdoor garden where they'll be doing many more weddings for many more years to come. Reporting live, Ted Florendo, 8 News Now.
Thanks, Ted.
History lesson there.
Now, Nevada's first choice for news. This is 8 News Now at 6.
Well, a very special birthday for the oldest building on the south end of the Strip. The history inside this wedding chapel that's been a lot of love over the years.
The oldest building on the South Las Vegas Strip turned 70 today. The Little Church of the West held its first wedding back in 1943. Since then, stars like Angelina Jolie, Richard Gere, even Judy Garland have been married there. The original building was moved 3 times over the course of the years and made it to its final resting stop on Russell and the Strip back in 1996.
We, you know, kind of lost count many years ago, but we're in the hundreds of thousands of weddings, you know, in 70 years, and I'm pretty sure that's more than any other chapel, just because we've been around so much longer than all the other chapels.
The building has never been torn down or altered, with all its original fixtures and wood paneling, the same stuff from 1943.
Some real history there. Thanks for watching 8 News Now at 6. We're starting our Google Hangout right now on the subject of HOAs. Join us at 8newsnow.com.
See you at 11.
Nevada's first choice for news. This is 8 News Now at noon.
It is the oldest structure on the Strip, and the Little Church of the West turns 70 today. The building's actually been moved up and down Las Vegas Boulevard and now resides just between Mandalay Bay and the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. Now you can watch weddings happening there live online. It's listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and yes, they still accept drop-in weddings.